first pages she had barely dropped her bag on the hotel bed when she saw it, a leather-bound diary, sitting neatly on the nightstand. It wasn't hers. Emma Clark wasn't running away. That's what she told herself when she booked the trip, but in truth, something inside her had snapped 2 weeks ago. Her life in London had become a blur of late-night work calls, hollow friendships, and a relationship that had ended without a goodbye. When she saw a last-minute offer for a quiet, coastal hotel far from the noise, she clicked book now. Without thinking twice, she didn't expect to find a mystery waiting in her room. Room 409 was clean and peaceful. Cream-colored walls, a soft double bed with white linen, a small balcony that overlooked the edge of the sea. Everything looked perfect until she saw the diary. It was placed on the nightstand, just beside the hotel phone, with its leather cover closed but not dusty, not tucked away like something forgotten. It felt intentional, like it had been placed there for someone, maybe even her. Emma frowned and reached for it. The diary was warm to the touch, which made no sense. The room had been cold when she walked in. She turned it over in her hands, finding no name, no hotel logo, just smooth, aged leather with a tiny scratch in the corner. She hesitated. Then she opened it. The first line made her sit down. If you're reading this, I'm probably already gone. Don't tell the hotel staff, and whatever you do, don't trust room 407. Her stomach tightened. It didn't read like a joke or the start of a novel. The handwriting was hurried, messy in places, as if written while afraid. Her eyes jumped to the next lines. My name doesn't matter anymore. What matters is what I've seen, what I've heard. It started 3 nights ago, when I heard crying. From the vent, Emma looked up slowly at the small metal vent above the bathroom mirror. It was silent now, but the tension in her chest was growing. She flipped to the next page. They come at night. I don't know who they are, but they move through the walls. I can hear footsteps where there should be none. The guests in room 407 aren't normal. I saw one of them just stand by the window for 5 hours, not blinking. And when I finally tried to leave, I found my room door wouldn't open. Emma swallowed hard and stood up. She walked to the door and turned the handle. It opened easily. She breathed out. Maybe this was some strange hotel-themed prank, or maybe a writer testing ideas. But then her phone buzzed. One new message. No number. Don't leave. Her skin went cold. No one knew she was here. Not her parents, not her ex, not even her best friend. She had told everyone she was off-grid for a bit and hadn't shared the hotel name with anyone. A knock came not from the door, but the wall. 3 slow knocks. From the wall connecting her room to room 407. Her breath caught in her throat. She stared at the wall. The knocks came again, louder, more deliberate. She grabbed the hotel phone and dialed reception. Hi, I'm in room 409. I think someone might be in room 407. There's noise through the wall. The receptionist paused. I'm sorry, ma'am. Room 407 is closed for repairs. No one has been in that room for at least 2 months. Emma felt dizzy. But I just heard, I understand. Ma'am, I assure you, it's empty. She hung up. The wall was silent again. Emma turned back to the diary, flipping forward to a page that had a rough sketch. Someone had drawn the hotel floor. Room 407 had a red circle around it. There was also a mark on the vent, and on the wardrobe. She turned slowly toward the wardrobe in her room. It looked like any other, tall, wooden, simple. She opened it. At first, she saw only empty hangers. But then, something caught her eye, a thin crack along the back panel, barely visible. Emma leaned in and squinted. There was a gap just wide, enough to see through. She froze. Behind the crack, something shimmered, a faint reflection, a shape, a pair of eyes, looking back at her. She gasped and slammed the wardrobe shut, stumbling backward. Her heart thundered. She pressed her back to the wall, trying to breathe. She wasn't alone in this room. Someone was behind that wall, watching. She didn't scream. She didn't run. She was too stunned to move. After a minute, she forced herself to grab the diary. Again, her hands were shaking. The last sentence written said, "If someone finds this, please finish what I started. I couldn't get out, but maybe you can." The eyes behind the Wallimer couldn't sleep. She sat upright on the bed, gripping the diary in one hand and her phone in the other. She had already checked the wardrobe 3 more times. There was no sign of eyes now, just that faint crack in the wood, like a wound that had sealed itself shut. But the feeling didn't go away. Someone was watching her. The hotel was quiet, too quiet. No footsteps in the hallway, no doors closing, no sounds of guests from nearby rooms, just silence, heavy and unnatural. Her instincts told her to pack her things and leave immediately, but her curiosity whispered louder. Why was this diary in her room? Who left it, and what did they want her to discover? She flipped to a page near the middle of the diary, hoping for something, anything, that might explain what was going on. Second night, I found the mirror fogged even though I didn't take a shower, and someone moved my shoes. I know I didn't. I think they come when I'm asleep. I set up a recording device, but it went missing. Emma glanced at the mirror above the bathroom sink. It was clear now, but she suddenly had the urge to check her belongings. She stood up, opened her suitcase, and went through her clothes. Everything looked in place, except her toothbrush was wet. She hadn't even unpacked it yet. A chill slid down her spine. Someone had been inside her things. At 2:11 a.m., she heard a faint sound from the wall again. Not knocking this time, whispering. It was soft and broken, like someone trying to speak through layers of fabric. She pressed her ear to the wall that bordered room 407 and held her breath. Nothing. She was about to pull away when it came again, a single word, whispered so softly she barely caught it. Emma. Her blood ran cold. She backed away from the wall, shaking her head. No one knew her name. No one. She grabbed her phone and tried calling the front desk again. The line rang once, then cut to static. That's when she noticed the diary was open. On her bed again. She was sure she had closed it before getting up. One line had been underlined in fresh ink. If it knows your name, it's already chosen you. She dropped the book and stumbled toward the door. She turned the handle and stopped. Someone was standing on the other side. A shadow blocked the hallway light underneath the door. No knock, no sound, just stillness. Emma didn't breathe. She didn't move. She just watched. After what felt like forever, the shadow finally faded. Whoever it was had walked away. Without a sound, she opened the door a crack and peeked out. The hallway was empty. She stepped into the corridor, barefoot and trembling, scanning both sides. To the left was room 407. To the right, the elevator. She considered running for it, but something made her turn toward room 407 instead. She needed to see it with her own eyes. She needed to know. The door was dark brown with faded numbers. The handle was old and dusty. She touched it gently. Locked. She crouched and looked. Underneath, a small flicker of light was coming from inside. She straightened and stepped back. Suddenly, her phone buzzed again. Another anonymous message. Don't open that door. You still have time. Go back. Her hands shook. She typed back. Who are you? No reply. She turned back toward her room. The door had closed behind her. When she returned, the diary was no longer on the bed. She searched frantically under the bed, behind the curtains, even in the bathroom, but it was gone. She stood in the middle of the room, panicked, unsure of what was real anymore. And then she saw it. On the mirror, written in the fog. Check the balcony. The balcony doors were shut, but not locked. She slid them open carefully and stepped outside. The sea breeze hit her face, cool and calming. She looked around. At first, nothing seemed unusual, but then, on the small table on the balcony, she saw the diary again, closed, as if it had never moved. She picked it up with trembling hands and opened it to a new page. I went out to the balcony to breathe. That's when I saw it, a figure standing on the roof across from me, not moving, not blinking, just staring. It wore my face. Emma froze. She turned her head slowly toward the rooftop of the opposite building, and then she saw it, a figure. Still watching. It was too far to see clearly, but the shape, the posture, it looked like her. Same height, same haircut, same stance. It didn't move. She backed into the room and shut the balcony doors. Her breathing was fast now, her heart racing. She couldn't take her eyes off the rooftop. But when she turned to look again, the figure was gone. The woman in the mirror. Emma barely slept that night. She stayed curled on the edge of the bed, gripping the diary like it could protect her. She kept the lights on. She even turned the TV to a soft news channel just to hear another human voice. But her eyes kept drifting toward the balcony, the wardrobe, and the mirror above the bathroom sink. When morning finally came, the golden light felt unreal. The world outside looked calm. Tourists wandered the beach. A couple laughed near the pool. The front desk clerk smiled as if nothing in this hotel had ever been strange. But Emma knew better. She opened the diary again, flipping pages quickly, hoping to find something that would help her make sense of what was happening. But instead of answers, she found a new entry, one that hadn't been there last night. The day is a lie. They hide when the sun is up. They feed on fear, and they grow stronger at night. Room 407 is not just a room. It's a door. A door to what? She felt her hands go cold again. She needed help. Emma dressed quickly and went down to the lobby, clutching the diary in her tote bag. She approached the front desk. The same young woman from the night before smiled brightly. "Good morning. Sleep well?" she asked. Emma hesitated. "Actually, I didn't. Is there someone I can talk to? A manager, maybe?" The woman tilted her head. "Sure. Is everything okay?" Emma lowered her voice. "It's about room 407. The smile vanished. The receptionist's eyes darted to the side, then back to Emma. "That room is under renovation. I heard noises from it. Last night someone knocked. I got messages on my phone. Someone whispered my name." The receptionist's face stiffened. "I don't know what you're talking about." "Please," Emma pressed. "This isn't a joke. I need to know what's going on. Has anyone complained before?" For a long second, the woman said nothing. Then she leaned forward slightly and whispered, "You should leave today." Emma blinked. "Why?" But the woman had already straightened up and returned to her customer service smile. "Sorry, ma'am. There's nothing unusual in that room. Enjoy your stay." Emma walked out of the lobby feeling like she'd been gaslit. She didn't leave the hotel, not yet. Instead, she went into the small cafe on the ground floor. It was nearly empty. She sat at a corner table with her coffee and opened the diary again. Another page, one she was sure hadn't existed this morning. "I tried to speak to them too. They all know. They're told to keep quiet. But the woman in room 405, she saw it. She told me everything. Find her." Emma stood up so fast, she spilled some of her coffee. Room 405, she had walked past it just last night. She rushed back to the fourth floor and stood in front of room 405. Her heart pounded as she knocked gently. No answer. She knocked again, louder this time. Still nothing. She looked around the hallway, still quiet. Then, almost ready to give up, she heard the lock click. The door opened just an inch. An old woman peeked out, eyes tired, face lined with worry. "Are you the girl with the book?" Emma froze. "Yes, you've seen it too, haven't you?" The old woman opened the door wider and pulled her inside without another word. The woman's room was dark, the curtains drawn tight, the lights were dim, and the room smelled faintly of lavender and something metallic like blood. "I was here last year. Different room. Same floor," the woman said quietly. "Room 407 was already locked back then, but I heard things too. The walls, they talk." Emma sat down, her hands trembling. "What's in that room?" The woman shook her head. "It's not just in the room. The room itself is alive. A passage, a crack in the hotel's walls. Something looks through it, something that doesn't belong in this world." Emma's throat went dry. Why hasn't anyone done anything? They tried. Years ago, one of the guests vanished. A man. He checked into 407, and he never checked out. No one found him. No luggage, nothing. The hotel buried the story, moved on. But every now and then, someone like you gets too close. Too close to what? To it, the woman whispered. "The Watcher." Emma felt her heart pounding in her chest. "What is it?" "I don't know," the woman admitted, eyes wide. "But once it sees you, it doesn't forget." Suddenly, the lights in the room flickered. Both women turned toward the mirror. There, reflected behind them, just for a second, was a woman, tall, pale, black eyes, long hair that moved like smoke, and she looked exactly like Emma. Emma screamed and turned, but no one was there. The mirror was empty again. The old woman grabbed her arm. "It's chosen you now. It wears your face so no one believes you." Into room 407, the door to room 407 was open. Just a sliver, not wide enough to see clearly inside, but enough to know someone had been there, or something. Emma stood frozen, outside the room, staring at the narrow gap. Her mind screamed at her to run, to get help, to leave, but her feet didn't move. It was like the door was pulling her in. Behind her, the hallway remained quiet. She slowly pushed the door open. It creaked. The room was dark, far darker than it should have been. The curtains were shut, but it was midday. A hotel room should still have some light from the windows. The hallway, something. but room 407 felt like it had swallowed every bit of brightness. Emma hesitated at the threshold. She stepped inside. The air was heavy, almost damp. She reached for the light switch near the door and flipped it. Nothing. The bulbs didn't even flicker. She used her phone's flashlight and swept it across the room. The furniture was dusty and old, not like the other rooms in the hotel. The bed had no sheets, just a bare mattress covered in strange stains. The wallpaper was peeling in places, revealing mold underneath. Everything felt off, like the room had been left behind by time itself. She took another step. A mirror on the far wall caught her light. It was shattered, not just cracked, but broken in a way that seemed deliberate, like something had punched through it from the inside. The diary was in her tote bag. She pulled it out and opened to the next blank page. There was new writing. If you enter, you will see her. She will wear your face. She will speak your thoughts. Do not answer her. Do not look into her eyes. Emma's mouth went dry. She turned back toward the door. It had closed behind her. She hadn't heard it shut. She ran to it and pulled the handle. Locked, of course. She banged on the door, yelling, "Hello, someone help me. I'm stuck." No response. Only silence. She turned back around and gasped. There was now a figure sitting on the bed. It hadn't been there moments ago. Emma raised her phone again, her light trembling. The figure was facing away from her. A woman with long dark hair, wearing the same clothes Emma had on. Her own voice whispered from the bed. "Why are you afraid of yourself?" Emma stepped back, her heart thundering. "I'm not real," the voice continued, "but I remember everything you've forgotten." The figure stood slowly and turned around. It was her. Same eyes, same face, same trembling hands. Emma shook her head. "You're not me." The figure smiled. "Then why do you feel what I feel?" It stepped closer. Its movements weren't quite human, too smooth, too calculated. Emma stepped back until her back hit the wall. "I don't want this," Emma said, her voice cracking. "But you opened the door," the thing whispered. "You read the words. You invited me." Suddenly, all the lights in the room flickered once and went out completely. Her phone died in her hand. Darkness swallowed her. She heard footsteps moving toward her, soft and slow. Then, a voice so close she could feel the breath against her ear. "Let me in." Emma screamed and dropped to the floor. And then, silence. Nothing touched her. Nothing moved. When she opened her eyes, the room was empty again. She was alone, or so she thought, until she looked at the mirror on the wardrobe door. Her reflection didn't move. She raised her hand. The reflection stayed still. She blinked. The reflection smiled. She stumbled backward, hands shaking, tears rising in her eyes. This wasn't a haunting. It was a replacement. Whatever this thing was, it didn't want to scare her. It wanted to be her. After what felt like hours, the door behind her clicked. It opened by itself. Emma didn't hesitate. She ran down the hall, past room 455, down the stairs, not stopping until she reached the lobby. The same receptionist stood behind the counter. Emma rushed up. "Please, I need to check out. Now, right now." The woman didn't react. She just stared at her like she didn't recognize her. Emma snapped. "Do you hear me? I'm in room 409, Emma Clark. I'm leaving." The woman finally blinked. "I'm sorry," she said calmly. "We don't have a guest by that name." Emma's voice dropped. "What?" "I just checked," the receptionist said, tapping on the keyboard. "There's no Emma Clark registered in our system, and room 409 is empty." Emma stared at her. "I've been here for 3 days." "I'm sorry," the woman said again, her eyes distant. "There's no record of that." Emma reached for her ID in her bag, but it was gone. So was her phone. So was the diary. She looked down at herself. Even her clothes were different. Now, older, faded. Her hands began to shake. "What's happening to me?" The woman behind the desk leaned in, voice low. "Sometimes, it lets them leave, but not as themselves." The other Emma didn't move. She stood on the front steps of the Crescent Bay Hotel, staring at the woman on the sidewalk. The woman who looked exactly like her. Same hair, same clothes, same face, but that smile wasn't hers. It was too wide, too cold. It wasn't a copy. It wasn't an illusion. It was a replacement. Emma felt the blood drain from her face. The woman tilted her head and slowly began to walk toward her, each step calm and confident, like she had been living in this skin her whole life, her whole existence. Emma backed into The hotel lobby. The receptionist watched, silent, unmoved. "Can't you see her?" Emma gasped. "That's me. Out there. That thing, she's taken my face." The receptionist didn't even blink. "I told you," she said flatly. "You should have left when you still could." Emma turned and ran past the elevator, up the stairs, and back to the 4th floor. Her mind was spinning, her heart pounding. The hallway looked different now, longer, narrower, like the hotel itself had changed its shape. Room 409 stood ahead, door wide open. Inside, everything was reset. The bed was made, her suitcase gone, the wardrobe shut. No diary, no sign she'd ever been there. She stepped in and touched the nightstand. Dustless, cold, like it had been cleaned just an hour ago. Emma stumbled to the mirror. The reflection still matched her, but something felt wrong. Her own eyes looked distant. Glazed, she raised her hand. This time, the reflection followed. She whispered to herself, "I'm real, I'm real." But the doubt had started to grow. She heard footsteps behind her and turned quickly. No one. The hallway was empty. But then, on the bed, she saw it. The diary. Back again. She picked it up with shaking hands. A new page had been written. "She's taken your name, your voice, your place. If you want to survive, you must take it back." Emma's chest tightened. "There's a way to reverse it. But the door must be closed from the inside. And you must become what she fears most, yourself." She turned to the next page. It was blank, until words slowly began to appear, like ink rising from invisible veins. "Go back to room 407. Her knees weakened. No part of her wanted to return to that room, but deep inside, she knew this was the only way. She had already crossed the line. There was no safety now, no escape. Not until she confronted whatever had taken her life. She made her way down the hallway again, toward the room that had started it all. Room 407. The door was shut now. But this time, when she reached for the handle, it opened without resistance. The room was exactly as before, cold, dark, lifeless. But there was something new. A tall mirror stood in the center, where the bed had been. It stretched nearly from floor to ceiling. A soft, pulsing glow surrounded it. Emma stepped in. The door closed behind her, and then the mirror shimmered. The surface rippled like water, and she stepped out. The other Emma, same face, same voice, but different inside, hollow, empty. "You shouldn't be here," the double said. Emma stood her ground. "That's my life you're living." The other smiled again. "I'm better at it. People like me. I smile more. I don't cry at night. You're not me. I'm who you could be if you just stopped feeling so much." Emma clenched her fists. "I'd rather feel pain than feel nothing." The mirror behind the double flickered. Images flashed, memories, moments, snapshots of Emma's life. Her childhood birthday, her first kiss, the night her mother died, the time she almost quit her job, the times she didn't give up. The other Emma winced. "You're not strong enough," the double hissed. "That's why I was made." "No," Emma said, stepping closer. "You were made from fear. I was made from every time I got back up." The double snarled. Her voice deepened. "You can't kill me. I am you." Emma reached into the diary. A new page had appeared. A final message. "She lives in the mirror, but she cannot survive reflection." Emma turned. The full-length mirror behind the creature now shimmered with firelight. Her real reflection stood there, bruised but standing strong. She grabbed a shard from the shattered glass on the floor and held it up. The double shrieked, "Stop! Don't!" Emma held the shard to the creature's face. The moment the fake Emma saw her own twisted reflection, she screamed like glass breaking, body convulsing, face cracking. The mirror behind her split down the center. Light burst through. The creature shattered like porcelain. When the light faded, the room was empty again. The mirror was gone. The diary lay on the ground, burned at the edges. Its final page reading, "Only one can leave." Emma stumbled out of room 407. She was different now. Not haunted, not scared, just tired, but real. The final page. Emma stood in the hotel lobby, stunned. The receptionist smiled politely and slid a keycard across the desk. "Room 409. Welcome back, Ms. Clark." She reached out and took the card with trembling fingers. Had it really ended? Was the nightmare over? She turned to glance behind her, half expecting to see her double watching from the street. But the sidewalk was empty. Just a mother pushing a stroller, a couple taking photos, a man walking his dog. Everything looked normal. Too normal. Emma moved slowly down the hallway, back to room 409. The door clicked open. Sunlight spilled into the room, golden and calm. The bed was neatly made, the wardrobe empty, the mirror unbroken. There was no sign of what had happened, no diary, no broken glass, no shadows behind the walls. It was like none of it had ever occurred. But she remembered. Every second she stepped in and closed the door behind her. Then she sat on the bed, staring at her hands. They were shaking. That night, Emma couldn't sleep. She tried. She lay with the lights on, the covers pulled to her chin, but sleep stayed, just out of reach. The silence in the room pressed down on her like a weight. Every creak, every flicker of the curtains in the breeze made her heart jump. At 3:17 a.m. she sat up suddenly. Something had woken her, a whisper, maybe, or just instinct. She turned toward the mirror. Nothing, but on the nightstand, something was waiting. The diary. Again. She stared at it for a long time before reaching for it. The leather cover felt cold now, older somehow, like it had been buried deep and was only just now returning to the surface. She opened to the first page. It was blank. Then, slowly, one sentence appeared. "You're not the only one." Emma swallowed hard. She flipped to the next page. More handwriting began to appear, slowly, painfully formed, like someone was writing it from the other side. "If you're reading this, then you made it out, or you think you did. I escaped it, but they're always watching. They wait, they learn, and when you forget, that's when they come back. Tell someone, warn them, or you'll end up like me, wondering if the person in the mirror is still you." Emma's hands trembled. Who was writing this? Another victim, someone still trapped. She wanted to throw the book away, to run and never return, but something inside her said no. She had been chosen, not just as a target, but as a witness. She left the hotel the next morning, packed her things in silence, checked out with no questions asked. The receptionist smiled again, just as calmly as ever. "Hope you had a restful stay." Emma didn't answer. She walked out into the sunlight, feeling the warmth on her skin, feeling alive, but different, like a shadow still lingered behind her thoughts. On the flight home, she looked at her reflection in the plane window. Her face looked the same, tired, yes, paler than usual, but hers, still, she couldn't shake the feeling that something inside her had changed forever. 1 month later, Emma sat in a small cafe in London, sipping tea and watching the world go by. She had started to talk again, to friends, to her therapist, to herself. Not everything she said made sense to people. How do you explain that you lost your identity? Literally. That something tried to replace you. But the most frightening part wasn't what had happened, it was how easy it had been to forget. The nightmares had faded. The fear grew quieter. Each day felt a little more normal. Until that morning she went into her bathroom and wiped the steam from the mirror. For just a moment, a blink, her reflection smiled. A beat too late, just a second behind, but she saw it. She knew. And that night, the diary was back, sitting neatly on her desk at home. Emma didn't run this time. She opened it. The pages were blank. She picked up a pen and began to write. "My name is Emma Clark. I stayed in room 409 at the Crescent Bay Hotel. I found this diary. It wasn't mine, but it saved me. If you're reading this, maybe it found you too. Don't ignore it. Don't think you're imagining things. If something in your room feels wrong, it probably is. And if you ever see yourself somewhere you're not supposed to be, run." She paused, then added one final line. "You can survive, but only if you remember who you are." She closed the diary, set it on her shelf, and left the room. Final lesson. Sometimes the most dangerous thing in the world isn't a monster hiding under the bed. It's the part of yourself you stop paying attention to, the parts you ignore, bury, or forget. Because when you forget who you are, something else might remember, and it might take your place.